Okay, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of I Thought You Might Like. Yes, wearing the same shirt, this time drinking water out of my trusty bottle. So many stickers on it. Okay, y'all. Today, in the episode, I'm going to be talking about The Ultimatum, a dating reality television series. Yes, and I thought you all might like this. Now, I usually don't watch reality TV. And then I watched Glow Up, and I take that back. I do watch reality TV that's like competition shows. I first even thought about watching reality television. I think a lot of people are either like, you know what, reality TV is like, yes, it's my jam, it's like my like trash feels mean, but like trash or guilty pleasure. I don't really believe in like, I don't think you should be guilty for watching things that you enjoy. But kind of like eating like a potato chip snack kind of thing in terms of like TV shows. I had never really given much credit to reality TV. I then listened to a podcast series, which maybe I'll put in the description because I'm blanking on it right now. But it was basically about the history of reality television. And after that, I was like, you know what? Everything that gets created that's out there in terms of media and entertainment and art and culture and whatever, all of it like does mean stuff, And so I was like, you know what? I don't think I should just like I shouldn't like be judging reality TV as if it has like no value whatsoever. That's not true. So then I started like dipping my toe in a little bit more. I will highly recommend Think Story. They have a whole channel that's just about like sort of trash shows that they watch and then kind of review and like break down. I love them. I watched like all of Think Stories, ones about like Love is Blind, Too Hot to Handle. I think they also did, actually, yes, they did one on The Ultimatum. And I loved watching them because it allowed me to kind of like get a taste of the drama and the intrigue without having to watch potentially all of it. However, as a queer, I am bi. I It's my weak point. It's my kryptonite that I will pretty much watch anything that has queer related anything. I am tempted to watch it. So Netflix came out with another season of The Ultimatum, but it was The Ultimatum Queer Love. And I gotta take my glasses off for this because yes, I did watch this. And I'm eagerly awaiting June 7th, when I think it's the 7th, when the last 2 episodes come out. And I think that y'all would like this if you if you are at all interested in sort of trashy shows. I gotta come up with a better word than trash, because again, I don't think it's trash. It's just like more like fluffy sort of show. Also, I find it so utterly ridiculous that the way to deal with if you want to marry a person or not, one is to give them an ultimate. I mean, I know reality TV isn't like actually like a reality. I am aware of that, but that giving someone an ultimatum to like either marry me or like I'm not going to date you anymore. One, that doesn't like seem like a great idea. Two, doing that and then switching and having trial marriages, which is like the point of the show, just seems wild to me. Now, let's rewind. Let's take a step back. This is a reality dating television series, right? I have only watched recaps of the first season, which is the heteros, and that's fine. But let's face it, I really wanted to watch the queer love one. So let me just break down the premise of the show. So I think it's a handful of couples that come in. If in each couple, one of them was given an ultimatum. The ultimatum was usually like the ultimatum is I want to get married If you don't marry me, like, I gotta leave. And then all of these couples find different partners and go on a trial 3-week marriage. And then they do another trial marriage for 3 weeks with their original partners that they came in with. And at the end of those 3 weeks, they decide they decide if they want to get married or not. You know, sounds absolutely horrible, but makes for some great TV. Yeah. So that's the premise of the show. Now, you might be listening to this being like, why on God's green earth would I like to watch this? One, who doesn't love drama? Okay, come on. Who doesn't like that? Who isn't vaguely interested in, like, I think a lot of folks have, and me included, okay, I have a partner. I think that, and he's awesome. But I think that a lot of people kind of maybe like even have thoughts of like, well, what if I didn't date somebody else? Or what if my partner never wants to get married? Like, what am I going to do then? Do I give them an ultimatum? Do I, like, what do I do with all these feelings and conflicting, thoughts and whatnot? So I watch it because I'm interested in this type of storytelling, and well, multitude. One, I'm interested like why people want to go on this show. Two, if they really think it would help them or not. And then three, I guess, like, it is just, there is something about reality television that itches at sort of like voyeurism that I think a lot of us have in us, of just like really curious to know what's going on in other people's lives. For me, I'm endlessly fascinated by people around me, endlessly fascinated by my friends. I love when they tell me just about their the lives that they might think are boring. I really do not get bored easily. So I find all of that stuff very interesting. So I really do find like reality TV shows fascinating because it's interesting to watch people work through things that either I may have thought about, and just like seeing how other people are thinking through that as well. So for me, for example, I mean, like, I guess in this terms, I don't actually want to get married. I don't know if ever anytime soon, but it is interesting to watch people in their relationship be like, well, I want to really get married. And if I don't get married, I can't be with this person. And then the person who's been given the ultimatum being like, well, I don't want to get married because I want to be financially stable, or commitment is hard for me. It's like all of these things that are like blocks for the couples are aspects of my own relationship and a lot of people's relationships that maybe people get like butt up against, or like it is a source of conflict. A lot of it is communication, though I think it is. I did see like a funny meme or like gif or something about like on the actually no, it was a TikTok. It was a funny TikTok where somebody was like pretending that they were in like the ultimatum, like queer love, and it was like, well, I really appreciate your communication because you're communicating like much better than you've communicated with me before. And then it flips to the other person who's like, well, yes, I've been really trying to work on my communication because how we've communicated hasn't been great communication. And it's just like using communication like over and over and over and over again, which is really funny because they do that in the show. Um, but yeah, so anyways, I think that I'm really interested. I've talked about this before. I'm very interested in cults. I'm very interested in like why people do certain things or get caught up in certain relationships. Like, I am really interested in that. And I think that dating and reality TV shows are like kind of right in that space for me. And so that's why I think y'all might like that if you're like vaguely interested in that kind of um human psychology, and kind of like watching that and figuring out like, well, why do people do certain things? Because like one of the things I like cannot get over, okay, I can't put my glasses back on. No. One of the things I can't get over is like, I could like go into detail about all the couples, but I do not have the time. But there's like I just, y'all, if you if you have a trial marriage with somebody, I do not understand what the plan would be if then you develop feelings for that person and then you also have feelings for like the person you came in. I just, I guess what I'm referring to is Mal and Yoli and Xander. And just watching that, I'm like, but what? How would that be the plan? I don't understand how would that how would that work? How would that work? I don't understand. So I love those kind of moments, like like watching it, because I sometimes will watch episodes with my partner. I will watch it. We're just like, how, why? Making commentary, talking to the TV, like knowing that nobody can hear us except like each other. I think that's the part I love probably the most about watching reality TV series, and I think this one in particular, like watching all of these folks interact and really try to figure out love in this like heightened sort of fake environment that like I don't think would actually help anyone in terms of like how to how to find love. So I think that's what I think y'all would like. If I had, because I'm trying, y'all. I could talk forever. I'm trying to find one thing, a singular thing as to why I think y'all would enjoy something. So for this one, I'm gonna go with just a human intrigue of just curious with how people and the drama around how people interact and when it comes to love and relationships. And again, I will watch almost anything queer. And I don't think that's a toxic trait at all because I gotta support. I gotta support. And I think that also what I really liked about this show is being able to sort of like watch it with other people or just going on Instagram and kind of seeing like what other folks are saying about it. And I think I just like the human intrigue of just watching people really messy, so messy. But we got to have messy queer representation, okay? We just got to. We have to have the full gambit of queer representation, and this is this is part of it. Messy relationships where you're like, are you making good choices? Absolutely not. But we're here and we're here for it, and we want to know what's going to go and what's going to happen. And I'm very excited to watch who gets chosen, what happens, and I will just add in one little thing. I think that it makes me stop and think. I think that all storytelling, and because this is storytelling too, all storytelling for me is an opportunity to look at the world differently and to also ask myself questions. And if I'm up against anything, allowing myself to feel like, well, why do I feel so and so? So, for example, like I'm interested in polyamory, and so this show makes me really think about the confines of marriage and relationships because the the show is hinging on the fact that one, all these people want to get married and that marriage is like a huge institution within the world in the United States, and two, that you can only be with one person like for the rest of your life, and that this is like the biggest decision of your like entire life, which maybe it's the biggest decision ever. I feel like there's other decisions that are important too in life. um so I think that like for me watching the show and having my own questions about like, well, what are relationships, or can things look differently for other people, or what is an expansive view of love, and then watching it and sort of just in an open way, very open way. I'm not trying to judge anybody here, but just like for myself kind of looking at that and being like, that's interesting that the tension that the show is building on is because of all of these sort of structures and confines that we're trying to fit ourselves into, that the world is fitting us into, and that some people really do choose and want, like monogamy and whatnot, that that's something that folks really want, and that I think we're often pushed into viewing that that's potentially the only way to live our lives. But I do think that for me at least, and I'm sure for folks out there, just simply watching other people make decisions then like helps, not necessarily helps, but like makes us potentially like introspectively look at ourselves and our own decisions. And and I know a lot of other folks can do that with even a show like The Ultimatum Queer Love. So yeah, Stories are out there in a myriad of ways. I would love to hear what you all think. If you have any predictions, I would love to know. I'm so interested in that. So, yeah, I guess that's all I've got to say, y'all. I thought you might like this show. If you want something fun, kind of easy to watch, something that you should definitely watch with folks and gossip and eat popcorn and just be like, oh my effing God, this is the show. I highly recommend it. Let me know what you all think, and thank you for listening and tuning in to another episode of I Thought You Might Like. I